And I do have other tanks too, and those tanks are doing good. So, you know, I'm not too beat up about it. I'm not depressed or anything. Hey, what's up, Reefers? I'm Reefer Matt, and welcome back to the Reef Cave. Today we're going to talk about when things don't go so well with your tank. There's been some issues with this tank here. I've been real busy lately, and some things popped up, so I figured I'd share those with you and how I get through it. Let's take a look. So yeah, the tank definitely looks different. So let's talk about what happened, or what I think happened, and how I'm getting through it. It's been a minute since I did a video. I apologize for that. I've just been super busy with my day job and also doing the swaps. I appreciate all you that came out to the Lansing swap, and those that stopped by to say hi. That was really awesome to see you. So hopefully I can get a little more focused on my tank here. I don't think it was from the collect or anything that's going on, but honestly, I don't know what happened to my Montipora, but just about every Montipora colony in here is not doing so great. As you can see, I lost the polyps and there's algae on them. So I did check the parameters. They've been fine. I have an apex on this. Wasn't so much of an elk swing, but there is a couple things that I did change recently. And I went to a different salt mix, but that salt mix has the alkalinity and calcium that I want, but maybe it was a salt mix that I changed, or I also put an algae scrubber on this thing, and the nitrates have been lower than they have been in the past. So like half, because they were like in the 20s and now they've been running in, you know, around 10. So that could be an issue. So what I did, and I also checked my potassium, and it was a little bit low. It was around 360, I believe. So I dosed some of that, but I did a water change today also. But to make myself feel better about it, these are still not opened all the way. As you can see, there's a big old hole here now where that Montipora digitata and Pasillipora colony were. I took those down today because I noticed that they were blocking a lot of flow with each other, and there's a lot of death going on underneath it because it was all shaded. So I figured, you know what? It's time to do a light reset on this tank. And what I mean by a light reset is, you know, cutting back some colonies and putting other coral in if I can. Like this down here, even when this is looking awesome, I'm just, you know, it's cool, but it's not something that's eye-popping to me. This is a castaway. It's supposed to be a castaway colony, but, you know, the Montiporas, I do like them when they're out and colorful and stuff. You know, I still like encrusting coral, but honestly, this tank has always had a lot of encrusting coral in it. And I'd like to put a few more Acropora in here, or more colorful ones like this back here. So I want to call it a Montipora digitata, but I believe it's a different species, but it is a Montipora. So, you know, just more branching types, I guess I should say, rather than the encrusters. So that's what I'm doing to kind of, you know, get out of the lull that I'm in too. But as far as the issues, I mean, it's not really anything I did or didn't do. It just all of a sudden, you know, I just wasn't paying attention, I guess is what you could say, as much as I should have. But this is actually kind of a quick development, like within a week or two. So I'm just trying to see what happens. I made my corrections. I did a big water change. So as you can see, some of the coral are still sliming up a little bit from that water change. So we'll see what happens. I also cut out some Pasillipora colonies that were growing down here in between these acros, and I did a lot of trimming on this acro because it was getting into the Walt Disney colony there. So I did a lot of pruning today too, or yesterday I should say, when you're watching this on Sunday, just to kind of give the coral room, and it also makes me feel better. I like to do that kind of stuff. You know, I like you know, pruning a tank and aquaculturing and stuff like that. I got to get rid of all these little sea stars. Get me a harlequin shrimp one of these days, but that's not too big of an issue. They're not hurting anything in here, but I just, you know, I did my reset with this over here, so I figure that I'll do some more down here. If I can trim this back, it's really thick, so this one and this one, so I'll try to trim them back, and maybe that'll open up some more flow too. And here's a top view of what's going on. My fish are probably going to go crazy because they think they're getting fed. But I did replace those colonies with, well, one of them anyways, this cool Acropora I got from my buddy Michael, I did some trading, and this acro is really cool. So I think that's going to be a nice, colorful addition to the tank, as well as this too. They call it, I think, a forest fire digi. It's not fully open yet, but I think those will add some much needed color over on this side of the tank. And as you can see back here, this Montipora colony, this, if my fish will quit moving, this Monty cat back here that's not doing so well. So it's just basically my Monties that aren't doing so well. So we'll see what happens. The Acropora are doing pretty good, so I'm not beat up about it. And you shouldn't be either. When things happen to your tank, and they're going to happen, just deal with it. You know, try to find out what the issue is. If you can't, my go-to is always a water change. If you can, a nice big water change. I did a 40% water change on this tank. I did 30 gallons, maybe a little less, 30 gallons out of 80. So, you know, we'll see if that works. I'll do some more testing on the nitrate and phosphate, but I don't think nitrate and phosphate is going to kill my Montipora like that. So we'll see what's up with that. I'll retest my potassium. I've never done an ICP test on this tank. I really haven't seen a need up until now. So maybe I will, maybe I won't. We'll see what this water change does first. The acros are doing pretty good, so I'm not too concerned about it. Things do happen, and you know, a lot of things have happened with this tank. This tank's been through a lot. This colony right here actually has bleached out a couple times in the past, just from different alk swings and temperature and everything. So, and that's another thing I had the other day too, now I think about it, is I had a temperature swing. Went up to about 80, 81, which isn't super high, but this tank likes to run about 78 to 79. So that could be it. I was running my UV sterilizer for a little while, and heated up the water. So, you know, it's hard to say what the issue was, but I'll just let things be for a while and see what happens. But like I said, when things happen to your tank, just try to figure it out and make a correction. If you do a bunch of things at once, you're not going to know what fixed it. But I do know this tank, and I know if it's an issue like this, likely it's water chemistry, because my lighting has not changed, and nothing else has changed. The flow is the same, so it's definitely a chemistry issue, and I'll see what happens with that. I don't have any pests in here or anything that are bothering the coral, so I'll get through it. And, you know, I'll just do a light reset, and that'll make me feel better about the tank anyway. Honestly, I was kind of getting bored with it, like I said. So, you know, it can work for you, too, if you're getting bored with your tank and then things happen. Instead of quitting the hobby, just do a little reset. You know, just take something down, put something else in, and see how it goes, you know, after you fix your issue. But I definitely suggest not just giving up just because bad things happen, because, you know, it's just like the ocean. You know, you got the waves and the tide. It comes and it goes. So you just got to make sure that you roll with the tide and, you know, get back to it. So, yeah, I'll keep an eye on things and see what happens. But, you know, all in all, the tank's doing pretty great. And I do have other tanks, too, and those tanks are doing good. So, you know, I'm not too beat up about it. I'm not depressed or anything. But when things happen, you just got to, you know, figure it out and roll through it. If you take anything from this video, I'd ask it to be this. Things are going to happen, so don't blame yourself when they do. Just try to find out the source of your issue and correct it. Sometimes we don't always find out what the reason is, but we can still correct it, or we can make things that'll make us happier, and our tank will thrive regardless. So I just ask you not to give up, and try not to get frustrated, and just be patient with your tank. And I promise if you do all those things, more than likely it'll work out. I'm Reefer Matt. Thank you for watching, and happy reefing.